what have you said maybe to your child or a child that you look after when you've noticed that they are self-pleasuring or masturbating, whatever you want to call it? What might you say? Welcome back to another week of Staying on Top. This time I'm dedicating my video to Dr. David Ley because he is doing this awesome thing called No More Sex Shame, where a bunch of sex educators, and anyone's welcome to do one, are making videos about how shame has affected their sexualities and their sex lives. People like Dan Savage have done one, Dirty Lola, now I'm doing one, so if you feel so inclined and inspired, I would love to see your No Sex Shame video, and please tag hashtag No Sex Shame and tweet it at Dr. David Ley because I'm sure he would love to see it. With clients, I hear so much about sexual shame having to do with people's desires, their fantasies, their urges, and their sexual behaviors. But this is a topic that is not talked about enough, so I am really honored and excited to make this video. So thank you, Dr. David Ley, for telling me I should make one, and I'm so thrilled. So shame can start really early on. I'll give you an example. I was working at this summer camp and we had a kid in one of our groups that was, part of our kids group, and during story time, she would kind of lean on her hands, on her fists, and sort of rock back and forth. And my co-counselors were like, what is she doing? Like, why is she doing that? And they were trying to figure it out. After a while, I kind of watched and I noticed, and I'm like, she's pleasuring herself. Like, she was figuring out that putting them right here in her crotch and rocking back on her fists felt good. All of my co-counselors were like, Nicoletta, you're the sex person, like, you deal with it, we don't know what to say. And so thankfully I had a class about no shaming and non-shaming techniques towards kids. So I hope I said, something that was helpful for this particular child. But I said something like, we're at camp right now, we're doing story time. I know that feels really good, but can you wait to do that when you get home? Because it's usually something we do in private. All of my co-counselors were like floored because they were like, I would not have known how to say that. And that makes me really sad because none of us are taught how to have non-shaming conversations with our kids. So if you're a parent and you've noticed your child, figuring out how to pleasure themselves, remember that young boys can get erections, even baby girls can get lubricated and aroused. They might even get aroused like bouncing on your knee, up against pillows, up against like lampposts, anything like that. But most people who notice that, caregivers, parents, feel uncomfortable. I think it's hard for us as a society to see our children as sexual beings and what that might mean. And so a lot of parents will be like, no, don't do that. Or they'll like literally slap their kids' hands away if they notice that they are playing with themselves. But kids figure out at an early age that touching yourself in your genital area feels good. And so what I would say to start having those no shame conversations from early on is to try something like what I said, acknowledging that it might feel good, but maybe addressing that it's not always appropriate to do it at the dinner table or, at school, or helping them set those boundaries. Because otherwise, it instills this message early on in your child that there is something shameful about receiving pleasure, or there is something shameful about learning how to please yourself or touching yourself in that area. And that message can last a lifetime, especially if you don't go to a sex therapist and learn how to address that shame. I know this can be a really scary topic to address, but I would love to hear in the comments below, what would you say if that happened to you?